Everybody, welcome to our flexibility routine. We've got Erica and Eric to help us out. I'm going to let Yvonne get us started. I'm going to jump back here.
So if you haven't already taken your shoes and socks off, please do. And go ahead and have your resist-a-band, or you can use a long towel, or you can use a strap, you can use a tie. So we're going to curl our toes and sit back. You need to reach back with your hands and get the pinky toe in. Go ahead, and then you want to sit your hips over your heels. We'll take our strap.
And I'm going to use a towel because I had some knee surgery, and my knee does not like to go back that far. So this is a way to modify it.
If you feel some compression in the knee, that's a great modification. So start with hands shoulder width distance apart. And then we'll inhale, lift them up. And then exhale, slide your hands along the strap so that you can keep your arms straight. So you don't want to bend the elbows or twist. Inhaling and lift. And then exhaling and fold. And the reason I like this is for all of the runners and the bikers and the constant repetitive movements in the feet. This is a great way to open the soles of the feet and the toes, the calves, the shins, keep going, and the shoulders at the same time. So all of the tight places in the body. So notice that as it starts to get challenging, you dip forward. So think about sitting back, lengthening the tailbone down. Yeah, good. And Eric, yeah, sit back. I promise you will not break a toe. So far in 12 years, it hasn't happened yet. Erica, the tough girl, she's here bearing through it because I know this is painful.
It is very.
Yeah, it's very painful. But it'll feel good when we're done. It's one of those love-hate relationships. So like Pete said, it's a great staple. Let's do one more together. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift. And then exhale down. So drop your strap, come forward, uncurl the toes, pause for a second. Oh boy, feel the blood go back in the toes, yeah?
I think I have some leaking out.
And then let's cross the feet and come sitting on our sits bones. Draw the soles of the feet together and interlace the fingers underneath. So we're going to sit up nice and tall, thinking about letting the knees come out to the sides. Instead of pressing the thighs down, you want to think of lengthening the knees out. And then take an inhale, sit up nice and tall. And then elbows come towards the calves, and you begin to fold forward. Thinking about bringing the belly or the heart center towards the toes. So you're not rounding forward, not yet. Yeah, good. So lengthening forward, inhale. And exhale, draw the chest and the belly forward. Let's take one more breath like that. Inhale. And then as you exhale, round the shoulders, drop the head, round the back. Make it feel yummy. And drop the head so that the back of the neck can stretch. Good. Let's take 5 more breaths. So make it a little softer, round, drop your head. Yeah, and you feel that stretch all the way through the back of the spine. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Right, so we're stretching out the groin, the inner thighs, the lower back. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. And then slowly begin to come up. Let's bring the hands behind us to take the weight out of the hips, and we'll come open into a straddle. So another modification that you can take, if you're slumped over like this, you would want to take the towel underneath of your sits bones to give you that tilt in the pelvis. Okay, so spread the toes wide. You can also take your strap around the feet. Okay, so there's a couple of options. So spread the toes wide, sit up nice and tall, and then exhale, and we'll begin to walk forward. Same thing for the first few breaths, really keeping the spine nice and long, pressing out through the feet, feeling a nice stretch through the backs of the legs. So 90% of lower back pain and issues come from tight hamstrings, believe it or not. So we're working in the hamstrings and the inner thighs. Yeah, good. And then breathe in, breathe out. Take one more breath here. And then as you exhale, fold, round the shoulders, drop the head, make it a little softer. You can also do any of these same stretches lying on your back. If it feels too tender or tweaky in the lower back to fold forward, you can take the same thing lying on your back. Take an inhale and exhale. So let's inhale and walk the hands back up. Let's keep the same shape. And we'll all move to the right. So right hand will come behind you. Left hand can come outside of the right leg or hold on to the right thigh. Take an inhale and lift up. Press firmly through the right toes. And then exhale, begin to draw the torso towards the right. So we're thinking about rooting down through the legs and letting the torso move in the opposite direction. So separating the hips and the belly. Inhale. You might also feel a chiropractic adjustment here on this one. Exhale, twist to the right. So starting in the belly, in the middle, lower back, then working into the shoulders, and ultimately looking over that right shoulder into the cervical spine. Getting the twist. Take a breath. Let it go.
It's key. Try to keep your chin above your right shoulder eventually at the end of the stretch.
One more time. Was that a pop I just heard?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Inhale, come back to center. Pause for a second so everything can kind of catch up with you. Feel the difference in the two sides. And then left hand comes behind you. Take an inhale, and then we'll begin to walk the right hand forward, maybe to hold on to that left leg. If this feels tweaky, again, you can do this lying on your back with the legs straight, or you can bring the legs in a little closer. So inhale and lengthen. Keep action in the legs so they're still extending out. Root down through the sits bones. Sit up nice and tall. And then exhale. Draw the belly towards that left thigh. Draw the middle back. And then eventually the shoulders. And then letting the chin move towards that left shoulder.
Popping like Orville Redenbacher back here.
You guys look awesome. Take an inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale. Come back to center. Okay? So from here, we're going to extend the left leg out. Grab your strap again. And bring the right leg in. So the right foot is going to come inside of that thigh. Sit up nice and tall. Again, if you need support underneath of your hips to get that pelvic tilt. Let's take our strap, place it around the sole of the foot. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. So notice the first couple of breaths that we're doing in these moves, we're using muscular energy to lengthen so think of an L, yes? So inhale, lengthen. And then as you exhale, draw the chest and the belly towards your toes, not the head, not yet. Okay? So keeping nice and long. Yeah, good. And then try to relax the shoulders as much as you can. Yeah, let the strap do the work. Good. Take an inhale. That's what we're using the props for, so let them benefit you. Lengthen through that left leg. And then one more time, inhale. And then now exhale, fold. Let everything round, drop the head, drop the shoulders. Now you could imagine that the head is coming towards the knee. And just feeling a nice stretch through the back of the spine. Breathe in again. So we're taking about 5 or 7 breaths on each side. Once you get used to this routine, you can feel free to add breaths. Inhale. Exhale. And then inhale, begin to walk yourself up. Bring your hands behind you. Extend the right leg. Just pause for a second. It's always kind of nice to notice the work. So you feel the difference on the two sides?
Sure.
Feel a little lopsided? Yeah, good. And then let's do the other side. Sometimes if we're really tight on one side, doing the other side actually brings us into balance. But you don't ever want to stretch just one side, but you might notice that. So inhale, sit up nice and tall, spread the toes wide, let your strap hold on to the sole of your foot, and then exhale, draw the belly, draw the chest. And then again, let the strap be your friend, so relax the shoulders. And so we'll add a little bit of yoga philosophy to this. You're not sitting here hopefully thinking about the list of things you need to do. Really connect with your body, connect with your breath, enjoy this time that you are spending nourishing the body. Take an inhale, lengthen, and then exhale. Drop the head, round the shoulders. Feel that stretch all the way through the back. So another reason why I like to separate the legs, doing one at a time, is so that if one leg's tighter than the other, you're not restricted by that leg, that each leg can get its own stretch as it needs to, working out some of the imbalances in the body. Take an inhale. Exhale, relax the shoulders. And then on the inhale, slowly begin to rise up. Bring the hands behind you. Pause. Hopefully you feel a little bit more balanced in the backs of the legs and the lower back. So you might turn sideways, or if your knees are a little tender, you could put a blanket underneath of you. We have enough padding here, but at home you might find that you need a blanket. So let's come rolling back onto our bellies. Toes are going to touch. Knees come out to the sides as much or as little as you like. So now we're going to begin to get into the inner thighs and groin, and you'll begin to walk forward. So again, this is a place where if you have tenderness in the knees, you'll see Pete, you can place a towel or a blanket underneath. You can also just move the flesh of the calf away and see if that gives you enough. So we'll take about 3 or 4 breaths here, just kind of, it's this invitation to our hips to say, I'm coming in. Hello, how are you? And breathe. Yeah. So you'll feel this in the groin and the inner thigh. This is a great stretch. It's similar to butterfly stretch that we did at the beginning. Now we're going to add shoulders. So come up just a little bit. Stand on the right hand. Take the left arm and thread it over to the left. Thread the needle.
Should we lay down?
Yeah. So let your body rest on that left shoulder.
This is what's so critical. A lot of people forget to stretch their upper body.
Exactly. And I'm a big fan of multiple groups together because, let's face it, we all are busy. So if you can do 1 or 2 without sacrificing the other. So you'll feel this stretch, especially, this is a great stretch after back day. So you're going to get this stretch in through the rhomboid and all down through the obliques, down and through the lats, and then also in the shoulder. And then we're still working in the groin.
Oh, yeah, we are.
And take a breath in. And exhale. And then slowly come back up to center. Yeah. And then when you're ready, thread the needle over to the other side. So working to have the hips move back towards the toes. Can you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you'll just notice that as you stay in this pose, the hips will begin to come off of the toes, and that's okay. But then just working to root the hips back towards the toes. You might even have someone give you that nice little adjustment, and all you're doing is rooting this sacrum towards the earth. Resting deeply on that right shoulder, feeling a stretch again into the rhomboid, shoulder blade down into the lats, and in through those side ribs and the groin. Let's breathe in together. Exhale completely. And then press down through that left arm slowly to rise up. Let's pause for just a second in the middle. Sit your hips back towards your heels. And slowly round yourself to come up. Okay, so we're in tabletop. So we're going to come into pigeon pose. So right leg will come forward. And so for those of you that's really tricky, you can start in a lunge and just walk your leg forward, okay? And then bring your right foot over to the left and come down into that right thigh. So we're going to open the glutes on the right side. Some of you might be up here. Some of you might be on that right hip, opening through the left hip flexor. You can also, if you want to make this more gentle, In nature, you could take your blanket and place it under your hip so that you can rest on it. Okay? You're thinking about rooting that right hip back as the left hip drops down. How are you guys doing?
Great.
You're still breathing? Okay. There's so many different ways to play in pigeon, so this is one of those stretching through the outside, outer thigh, hip flexor on the opposite leg, and even some people feel this in the groin of the leg that's in front. Do you guys have anything to add to that?
I feel it in my groin.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the leg that's bent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then if you shift over, like you said.
Then you can just, that's the thing,
feel.
is just kind of play and feel what body part needs that attention. Yeah. This is also a great way to read the paper or read a book. Just make sure you switch sides and kind of stay on both sides equally, but,
If you're not in enough pain that you can concentrate.
well, you know,
Maybe the funny pages.
yeah. So let's take an inhale. Exhale. And then press the hands down. If you'd like, we can go through a down dog and just kind of stretch out the legs, or you can come back to tabletop. Notice the two sides again. Maybe walk the dog, pressing through one heel, bending the other knee. And then let's come to the other side. So that left foot will come forward, left knee between the hands, toe out to the side. And so if that even feels tricky, feel free to bend this right knee behind you if that helps you settle into the hip until it feels available to be able to extend that right leg back. Okay, and uncurl the toes. Not that I need to tell you if you did the toe balance. No more curling of the toes. And then lengthen forward. So as this pose begins to feel more available in the body, you'll find ways, like Erica said, to kind of play with rolling to one side or curling the toes and see how that feels. But mostly just in the beginning, feeling that stretch to the outside piriformis and maybe the IT band on the hip that's in front, and then the hip flexor of the leg that's behind you.
Great on the hip flexor.
Yeah.
Just
it'd
twist a
great.
little bit to the right. You can really feel that.
Yes, the more that you center the weight. Yeah. This is also creating flexibility in the lower back. And breathing into that space. Again, as it becomes easier, the knee will come out further. These are all just ways to play around with changing it. And once you find your way, you can learn ways to play and get into those deep places. And let's come back to that connection with the breath. Inhale. And exhale. And do that again. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And then slowly bring your hands under your shoulders, walk back, and then either to come to tabletop or to come back to your down dog. Ah, that feels good. And then if you want, walk the dog again, bend one knee and straighten the other leg. You could sway the hips from side to side. Nice, Pete. That looks good. And then when you're ready, we're going to come down, cross the feet. Let's come lying on our back. Most of this we've done sitting up, so we'll come lying on our back. Bring both knees into the chest. And then take your left arm and wrap around your knees, right arm out to the side, and we're going to draw the knees over to the left. So the higher up you can get the knees towards the shoulder, the deeper it is in the middle of the back. If that feels really tender, then you'll bring your knees down a little bit lower. And then the lowest that they go, you'll get down into the lowest part of the lower back, the QLs, and then into the IT band, or if you have any kind of sciatica, you'll feel it down in there. So you choose how deep. And I don't even want to say one's more intense than the other. It depends on where your issues are in your body. So just so that you can see, bring your legs down just a little bit lower. Even more. So you see that takes it down lower? Yeah. See, sometimes we fly right past our edge. And there's nothing wrong with that, but just to notice that there's different places to stretch. Yeah. And then think about that shoulder blade on the earth. Letting that root down. And take an inhale. And then exhale. Good. And then inhale, bring the knees back to center. If it feels good, roll a little bit from side to side. Just massaging the lower back a little bit. And then from here, drop your knees over to the right. So same thing. Yeah, you might have to move your little mic packs out of the way. But the same thing that you did on the other side. So if you had the knees high up, then to create that same shape, if you had them lower, and then next time, just so that you're offering the same stretch on each side, and then letting that shoulder relax. So now we're taking that stretch. If you remember when we were in lying on our belly in tadpole, right? We were stretching in through the side ribs. Now we're stretching in through the side ribs on the front body. We are only as young as our spine is flexible.
Doesn't matter if you spend all day in an office sitting in a chair or if you're working in a factory lifting heavy objects, you should be doing this
Absolutely.
several times a week.
Or on a plane.
Or
Or
on
if
a
you sit in
plane,
an
yeah.
airplane, that's right, yep.
This
Take
was
a breath. And exhale. And then draw your knees back to your chest. Rock from side to side. And then cross your feet. And we'll rock up.
That was great.
Awesome.
Thanks, Vaughn. Everybody,
Yeah.
feel good?